All right, you're welcome back. The National Assembly may have caved in to pressure to suspend deliberations on its election sequence bill. Lead sponsor of the bill, Edward Pwachok, informed the National Assembly that he'll be stepping it down when it comes up for second reading.
And he said that without offering any explanation for his sudden change of mind. The House of Reps also unanimously concurred with the Senate by adopting returns from the state houses of assembly on the Constitution Alteration Bills 2018 regarding 33 bills.
I totally oppose this bill. And I do so for simple reason. For very simple reason. My dear brother and my dear chairman, Senator Nassif, regaled us with history of the past about sequence of election. But somehow, he conveniently forgot to tell us that each of that sequence, of those sequences, was fixed by the electoral body, not by an act of parliament.
We do not have the constitutional right to do what we are doing, and what we were voted for to come and do in this country, we are now living, to face irrelevancies. I see that what we are taking about this electoral act is irrelevant, to the development of this country.
We have two bills this afternoon regarding the electoral act. The second one is the one that's been cleaned up, removing all those areas the president was objecting, so that we can pass it quickly and send to the president. So I think in the second side, I just want to plead that probably the committee takes back this one while we go to the main one and then finish with it and send it to the president so that we can make progress. Is that the wish of the Senate? Yes. Thank you. Senate Leader.
Wow. All right, interesting debate there. According to Alasha Adura, just majoring on the minors and minoring on the majors. We have our guest right here in the studio, leadership and communication strategist, Dotun Ojon, of course, who's been with us already all morning, and Shinawa Ibrahim just joining us, is a political analyst. Thanks for joining us and good morning again.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you.
Okay, you listened to that debate. I wonder how much sense you make of it. But really, let me just put it this way. The stepping down of the Electoral Act Bill 2010, is it amounting to, or does it amount to throwing away the baby with the bathwater? Because there are other aspects of this bill that really do make a lot of sense. Oshinowo.
Thank you for having me once again. We've been on this forum severally discussing about the attitude of the Nigerian Senate and National Assembly, to be precise. We have a lot of national issue pending. We have a child rights bill. We have the National Agricultural and Purchase bills pending. We have other bills that are paramount in the heart of Nigerians. I believe the Nigerian Senate is wasting with taxpayers' funds to discuss some irrelevancies.
But is this electoral bill not foundational?
I will come to that.
Okay.
The reason why I'm taking it at a segment is to tell you that legislative business is not a joke, and it's not for mediocres. Who believes that they can come to Nigerian senators or House of Representatives to play Ludo or chess. This is a serious national assignment that boils down in our international outlook, that boils down in the way international community perceives us. Electoral amendment or whatever the Nigerian senators or the Senate calls it, at this point in time, if you look at the three phases of those amendments, I don't think Nigerians, none of those things have direct impact on you and I, on people who are suffering, addressing unemployment, addressing the general issue in Nigerian youth and the business community entirely. Electoral process, of course, will be formed by true internal and external democratic settings of this country. but it's not something that you have to get it done.
It's not urgent.
It's not urgent.
In other words.
That is my point.
All right.
All right, Dr. The Senate had passed this bill and sent it to the president for his assent. And the president rejected and sent it back. And now we're hearing some senators saying that we don't even have the right to do what we're doing. So at the point where the Senate passed the bill and adopted it before forwarding it to the president for assent, what changed? Everybody was saying yes. So what's the difference between that time and now when it comes to the right to do this?
The direction of politics has changed. At the point where, when everybody was saying yes, the president has not come out to say he's seeking a re-election. Now it's becoming clearer, and everything that happens now in the National Assembly is politics driven, and that's exactly what has changed. Now that underscores the fact that either we like it or not, to a certain degree, an average politician is interested in the next election, not the welfare of the people, and that's exactly what has played out. But I need us to also understand that some of these issues are not totally wrong. It's a thing that we need to set very straight. Because if you get to look at it, one of the things that we are clamoring for is good leadership. When you're clamoring for good leadership, the question you continue to ask yourself is that, does it mean that in Africa that we cannot produce good political leaders? The answer is we can. We can actually produce, but the good political leaders that are supposed to be in politics will rather develop their business, will rather go to the private sector rather than go into politics.
So, but who do we blame? Who do we blame for that?
It is because of our political system. Number one, the political process is very expensive. Number two, experience will not give room to innovation. So if we are having to adjust some of the things in the electoral act, especially election sequence, it's going to give room for some of these people to venture into politics. What that will mean is that either we like it or not, once we have a presidential election, that will decide and determine the direction of the entire election. Because everybody...
That is the presidential election coming first, which is what the National Assembly seeks to change.
The direction of the entire electoral process. Why? Because we are not, as a people, many of us are not politically matured. Until we get to a point where an average Nigerian can say, my friend is contesting, I know it's credible. He comes out from one small party, but I'm even sure that he will not win election, but I'm going out to vote for him. Until we get to that point, we may not have good leaders in government. And until we reorder our election sequence to the point that maybe even the councillorship election is coming first, that everybody can have the right to vote for whichever
So you
party.
started from down up.
Down, then you continue to move forward. We may not get to the point where we decide.
Maybe okay.
Are we not losing a golden opportunity to make the voting itself more democratic and reflective of the people's will when it comes to this, reordering of the sequence of the election? In other words, if we're able to reorder this election, we do away with the bandwagon effect, which is what so many people who've been arguing for the reordering of the election sequence have been saying.
Okay, let me quickly touch base on what Dr. said. I listened to him while I was in the back room. I appreciate one or two highlights he has made concerning the importance of electoral process in Nigeria. The so-called bandwagon effect, people are mentioning really, that can be effective maybe 2 elections away in the past. But now, you and I, you're going to agree with me that we have what we call electoral exposure in this country at this point in time. And the first time in Nigeria, we have to move from a ruling party being defeated in office, despite the fact that the party or the government has spent so much on its campaign, coming to the opposition. However, the sequencing you are saying is that will not determine 2019 election. How do I mean? If you are saying that you have to effect this sequence, some legal communities will tell you that, look, if you have to do this, are you not intruding into INEC prescribed lawful authority and responsibility. If you have to do things, I can tell you, don't let me waste our time on this. What they were about to do and what the INEC is waiting for is a subject to litigation to Supreme Court that will determine if the National Assembly have the right to determine the sequence of election, or the INEC can fix date, fix time, and fix the sequence. That is not for you and I to determine.
Yeah, that's a different matter. We understand that it's before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will decide.
Yeah.
But the point is, how does the reordering affect INEC's objective of delivering a fair, free and fair election, whether the presidential election comes first or even last?
It's like somebody coming to your office while you have the plans and programs for the day, and I'm telling you, no, Mike, you have to remove this and take backward. Of course, you have your budget line, you have your flow in the month. This is how many programs we're going to do. This is the number of adverts we're going to have. Sometimes your station will have it in a year. You have it in quarter, you have it in mid-year. You plan ahead of time. INEC has been planning for this election in how many? Almost 2 years now. Preparing the process at which they are going to do this thing. And mind you, they are not interested in whoever comes or becomes the president. I can say that for free. Whoever wins an election, they don't care. But what they are saying is that you don't have to jump over into our arena by all in the name of being legislation. This is the same thing that is happening in the National Assembly.
Let's read out this particular part now. Section 4. Item 22 gives powers to the National Assembly, that the National Assembly has the power over elections to the offices of the President and the Vice President, or Governor and Deputy, and any other office to which a person may be elected under the Constitution, excluding, of course, the local government council.
They have the
so
power
what do
to
we
do
make
what?
of this particular...
I don't get that section. They have the power to do what?
That the National Assembly has the powers over elections to the offices of the President, the VP, the Governor, his Deputy, except, of course, the local government election. What is your interpretation of this?
The section you are reading, I'm coming, please.
Yeah, please.
The section you are reading has not stated clearly what their power is. Are they to determine who will contest for the office of president? Are they to determine who is not going to contest for office?
No, not who will contest for the office.
The electoral process,
that's not what this item talks about.
Because it has never
but
mentioned
that the
anything.
National Assembly has the power to determine
the election, the election
of the Vice President and, of course, the President,
Governor, and Deputy
the
Governor.
executive positions.
You see, I don't want us to play so much of politics with this, because in 2010, when the National Assembly altered the Electoral Act, nobody came out to complain. And we had the next election using that Electoral Act. Nobody at that point argued whether the National Assembly had the power or not. Let me cite a personal distinct experience that I have. It's a senator that you know very well. This senator was a commissioner in his state. While he was serving as commissioner, he personally led talks to the house of the traditional ruler of his community and chased the man out of the community. Why? Because the man was a member of opposition. When 2015 election came, this same man came out, he wanted to be senator. And because everybody said he's say Baba, everybody has voted for Buhari, they went to vote for this man. It was after election that one woman, I am talking about personal this thing that happened to me. One woman was saying, oh, I don't know, I voted for this. The woman was actually saying it in her local dialect. Oh, I don't know, I actually voted for this person. No. Why did she vote for him? It was because of the fact that everybody was going
a particular direction.
Either we like it or not, our political maturity. I told you the other time that it's like driving at night with a bad headlamp. That's our political process now, and that's what's happening to the people. If the man, you are at the mercy of the man in your front. If he veers left, you go left. If he goes right, you go right. Until we get to a point where we continue as individuals to begin to build our own political headlamp so that we can see, or the government puts political lamps on the street so that everybody can see. But the latter is not going to be workable because many people in government do not want you to see the process so clearly.
All right. Now, Ibrahim, this issue of the National Assembly not having the powers to do what they're doing, as the case may be, is still part of where Nigerians are very confused, because the INEC derives its powers from the Constitution. The Constitution is an instrument that is put together by the National Assembly.
Yeah, Section 76.
So when it comes to the powers of amendment and so on, I heard one analyst say that the only place he has issues with this is that if you're going to make an amendment, then you have to send it to all the 36 states houses of assembly. And as far as this is concerned, that was not done. But if it has to do with the powers of the National Assembly to alter the Electoral Act, as the case may be, why does the National Assembly don't have the powers to do that?
Mike, I think we've been discussing on this station for several, in probably over a year now, that we don't believe that this present constitution, I'm sorry for digressing to that, I don't personally believe in this constitution because this constitution is not owned by Nigeria. Government does not give people's constitution. It's people that will give government a constitution. And that's what we have been fighting for. I was here the last time with Yerima, I think sometimes last year, discussing that we've been fighting that this is a military constitution. So to clear that this National Assembly gave us this constitution, that's not in arena. We've been fighting this since Student Union Day, since 1991. This is a military constitution. This constitution is not from the peoples of Nigeria. So to clear that arena, they can bring laws, they can propose laws, they can amend our constitution. But while doing that, you need to do it with the spirit of unity of the country. Look, either you like it or not, there are people who will continue to perceive that act of National Assembly as targeting Mr. President. There is no two way about it. Look, I have held political offices and I know how the games work. And I'm sure my friend here, of course, he has been speaking so well about, the normal ethics and, professional way of doing things in corporate world. But in political arena, it's a game of interest. Some people will believe that, look, this power we are exercising like Alasho Adura is not our own right to do this.
Okay.
And when you are
so
doing
the
what
fundamental
is illegal,
problem now is
I
the
tell
Constitution, which is supposed to be the ground norm. And according to you, we've gotten it wrong there. So whatever we build on it or whatever emanates from it will be questionable. But let's even look at some of the other aspects of this electoral bill that was stepped down. So many other, features, about 18 of them. First off, for example, de-emphasizing reliance on human discretion by legalizing the use of technology all through the electoral process. Full biometrics, for example, and for accreditation and voting.
Yes, why some politicians may be afraid to actually go all out to embrace that is understandable. If you look at the last PDP convention, there was this allegation of a list and all that. And I was really ashamed when somebody came, a top member of the PDP, and said majority of those people who came from his own state could not read or write. So they did not understand what the entire list was all about. As we speak today, the major tool in the hands of politicians in Nigeria are the illiterates, the women under the bridge who can easily get carried away with 5,000, who do not have a clear direction of how a political process
But Ibrahim
should go.
believes that the Nigerian voter is more educated now, that in 2019 you're going to see that play out.
No,
that it's no longer going to be bandwagon and what have
I
you.
also believe that. I totally agree with
Okay.
him. But this is not the level where we should be. That is one of the reasons why they will not go for electronic voting for now. Because a number of them are afraid. They know that at the end of the day, I may not vote for them if they do not perform very well. But it's very easy for my mother in the village to vote for an experienced politician if the man just comes and say, oh, we are and drop something for perhaps a pot of soup.
INEC has even said that they may not use electronic voting next year.
It is not visible. In all honesty, a lot of things need to be put in place for us to actually have a credible electronic voting system.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Time is against us. This is a topic that is of interest to a lot of Nigerians. But we must thank you, Dr. John, for coming on the program. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ibrahim Oshinowo, thank you very much for coming.
Having me.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Right.